Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. प्रभु जी 7:31 हो गए अभी. Do I need to continue or?
No, Mataji. So we can stop. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Sandal Pranam. So Giraj Prabhu is busy somewhere. So we will continue today, and today reading Bhagavad Gita. So we will start. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर गोविंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So welcome everyone to our evening session. So Kirashu messaged me little time back कि he is busy somewhere in office, and so today आज हम read करेंगे, and I will try to serve all of you with the best of my capabilities. But अगर कोई मुझसे गलती हो जाए तो please forgive me. So कल हमने भगवद गीता चैप्टर 2:58 से लेके 61 श्लोक तक पढ़ा था. उसमें हमने किया कि कैसे एक जो person है in Krishna consciousness, how he is able to control the senses by gaining the higher taste. So it started actually ऐसे ही कि how we can control the senses, and so Arjun had a question that how does a person in Krishna conscious sit. And so this implies that how his senses are, or how his mentality exactly is. So and then Krishna answers that based on a higher taste, he can control the senses, not by merely giving up and controlling, but the person has to take the higher taste. And then उसमें हमने example भी पढ़ा of a tortoise and a devotee. So it is compared to as a tortoise, जैसे कि जिस प्रकार से कछुआ अपने जो इंद्रियां हैं उनको अपने शेल के अंदर कर लेता है at the time of danger. And so similarly that is also we don't have to let loose our senses. And also हमने एग्जांपल पढ़ा ऑफ स्नेक चार्मर, एक सपेरे का और just serpents का भी, and the senses are compared to the serpents, and so we have to act like a snake charmer, एक सपेरे की तरह, and we don't have to let loose our senses, and we have to control it. And उसमें जो do's and don'ts होते हैं, we have to follow it like that. So in a way the snake charmer controls the snakes. And then हमने पढ़ा that जो restraining of the senses है, it is difficult because the taste है, the taste may still remain if we try to artificially control it. एंड उसमें एग्जांपल प्रभुपाद देते हैं कि इसका जैसे कि एक पेशेंट है अगर, तो वो अगर उसको हम the patient is ill and he may not like taking the medicines but and उनको कुछ चीजें छोड़ने परहेज करने के लिए बोला गया, डॉक्टर ने उनको बोला गया, बट स्टिल जो उनकी जो ना ही वो खुशी खुशी उन चीजों को परहेज करते हैं क्योंकि थोड़ी देर के लिए करना है, he knows that it is temporary and after I get back healthy तो मैं दोबारा उन चीज़ों का सेवन कर सकता हूँ. सो बट एट दैट टाइम जो डिजीज के टाइम पे उसको जो परहेज करने को बोला गया, ना ही वो खुशी खुशी करते हैं और ना ही उनका जो टेस्ट है वो चला जाता है. सो इट इज कंपेयर टू लाइक दैट कि we have to get a higher taste uh, to engage our senses or in a sense control our senses. And then we read um, and the only way to develop a higher taste and to control the senses is Krishna consciousness, and and how like the power of senses is so strong that it carries away the mind, and but with proper practice and determination and with proper practice in Krishna consciousness, and by keeping the senses engaged always in the service of the Lord, we can control the senses. And so this was we covered, and we also read about the analogy of Durvasa Muni and Ambrish Maharaj, the example of Durvasa Muni and Ambrish Maharaj. So so now we will start with our today's shlok 2.62 and 2.63. So if anybody wants to recite, they may raise their hands. 2.62. So Mamta Mataji, Anupama Mataji, Anita Mataji, Meenakshi Mataji, and Megha Mataji. Right. So Mamta Mataji, you can recite 2.62.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
2.62 Dhayato Vishayan Punshah Sangaste Sangate Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodha Vijayate.
Can you read the translation as well, Mataji?
While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Anupama Mataji, can you recite 2.63?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Krodhyad bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibhrama smriti bhramshad buddhinashat pranashyati.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Anita Mataji,
Yeah.
can you recite 2.62 again?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दर्द प्रणाम.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः संगस्तेषुपजायते संगात् संजयात कामात् क्रोध अभिजायते.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So I will share the screen and then we'll read. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So Bhagavad Gita 2.62. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu pujayate sangat sanjayate kama krodha bijayate. Translation. While contemplating the objects of senses, a person develops attachment for them, and and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. So जो ये दो श्लोक हैं 2.62 और 2.63, so this is यहाँ पे भगवान कृष्ण बताते हैं कि about the process of a fall down. अभी तक हमने पढ़ा कि कैसे how we can control the senses, and the only way to control the senses is Krishna consciousness, and and but now the process of how do we fall actually, and the process of fall down is explained in these two verses. So we will see ki how much we can cover today, and but this is the theme for these two verses 2.62 and 2.63, which is the process of fall down. That कि जो हमारा मन है, अगर वो भगवान पे फिक्स्ड नहीं है और अगर वो सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट्स में है, and then we are forced to drag ourselves into illusion, and this is where it starts, that with objects of senses, like because the senses are not controlled, the senses gets agitated by seeing the objects of senses, because the senses want to enjoy and they want engagement, and but when that happens, there is an attachment which gets developed for that vishay, which are the subjects, or which are the objects of senses, and from such attachment there जो काम है उसकी उत्पत्ति होती है, it is the lust which develops, and it is the lust only due to which we get anger. And तो आज हम ये भी पढ़ेंगे that what is the root cause of our anger, and so the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Purport: one who is not in Krishna consciousness is subjected to the material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. The senses require real engagement, and if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism. In the material world, everyone, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to say nothing of other demigods in the heavenly planets, is subjected to the influence of sense objects. And the only method to get out of this puzzle of material existence is to become Krishna consciousness, is to become Krishna conscious. So, ये क्या बता रहे हैं? That the senses require real engagement. So, अभी हमने पढ़ा था कि that the soul, it is the property of the soul to be always active, to always remain active, and and um, and in our current situation, and even after that, the senses always require engagement, and if they are not engaged in this in one service, they will be engaged in the other one. Like if they're not engaged in the loving service of the Lord, then they will certainly seek engagement in materialism. So Prabhupada tells that either you serve Krishna or you serve Maya. So these are the only two possible options. That the percentage you're not serving Krishna is the percentage that we are serving Maya, and the percentage we are not serving Maya is that the percentage that we are serving Krishna. So there are only two possible ways and we definitely be engaged in the service. So service will always be there. Either we serve the Maya or we serve the Krishna. And here the example is given of the demigods, like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, that even they are subjected to the influence of sense objects. And आगे जाके इसका example भी देते हैं Prabhupada of Kartikeya, and how Lord Shiva, who was in deep meditation, who got agitated by Parvati, and as a result Kartikeya was born. So आगे पढ़ते हैं. Just a minute. Okay. So the chanting background is there. Okay. So I have reduced the volume. Lord Shiva was deep in meditation, but when Parvati agitated him for sense pleasure, he agreed to the proposal, and as a result, Kartikeya was born. So So not even Lord Shiva is out of the influence of the sense objects, and even they also get agitated. But now we read about the pure devotees of the Lord. Now here, when Haridas Thakur was a young devotee of the Lord, he was similarly allured by the incarnation of Maya Devi. But Haridas easily passed the test because of his unalloyed devotion to Lord Krishna. तो ये जो प्रसंग है ये आता है चैतन्य महाप्रभु के लीलाओं में कि किस प्रकार से हरिदास ठाकुर उनको एजिटेट करने की कोशिश की गई थी. There was a prostitute which came and she tried to agitate Haridas Thakur, and but हुआ क्या that instead of Haridas Thakur getting agitated, the prostitute herself became the devotee of the Lord, and she started chanting. And so this is how the devotees of the Lord who take the complete shelter of Lord, they are protected, and because they are always under um, the the shelter of the Lord, and the lotus feet of the Lord, so they are always protected, and the senses and are not agitated. As illustrated in the above mentioned verse of Sri Yamunacharya, a sincere devotee of the Lord shuns all material sense enjoyment due to his higher taste for sense enjoyment in the association of the Lord. So, and how does that happens? It happens only because there is a higher taste for sense enjoyment or for spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord. And यही हमने जो हमारे पिछले जो verses हैं उसमें भी पढ़ा था that the only way is to get a higher taste, and which is the secret of success. देखिए क्या लिखा है, that is the secret of success. One who is not, therefore, in Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is sure ultimately to fail, for the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his desires. So, जिस प्रकार से कल गिरिराज प्रभु ने भी एग्जांपल दिया था ऑफ विश्वामित्र दैट by different yogic processes जो he was doing meditation for 60,000 years, and simply but he could not control the hearing sense, and he got agitated. जो मेनका की पायल से he got agitated, and उनकी जो तपस्या है वो टूट गई, और and he fall down. And what happens when these yogis fall down is that they start from zero again, and but it is not like bhakti. In bhakti it is not like that, so it is always there. जैसे कि कल प्रभु जी भी बता रहे थे कि how even a single uh, endeavor made in this process of Krishna consciousness, in the process of pleasing the Lord, in the process of serving the devotees of the Lord or serving the Lord, is get credited to our permanent account, and it is never lost. And this is also confirmed by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 shlok number 22, that he preserves what we have, and he carries what we lack. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupashate tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. And so this is how we the senses can be engaged, and this is how we can stop ourselves from getting agitated. But here it is said that as we develop attachment to this sense objects, and but we develop lust, and through lust anger arises. So this we will read in the next shlok. So we will read the next shlok. This is also a wonderful shlok, and 2.63. So I will read. क्रोधत भावति सम्मोह सम्मोह स्मृति विभ्रमा स्मृति भ्रमशत बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशत प्रणश्यति. From anger complete delusion arises, and from delusion bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So देखिए कितना लॉजिकली यहाँ पे भगवान ने बताया है दैट हाउ एक 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 स्टेप करके दैट व्हाट इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ falling down and what is the process of getting agitated and then the anger जो गुस्सा आता है तो उससे होता क्या है. देखिए क्या कह रहे हैं, फ्रॉम एंगर कंप्लीट डिल्यूजन अराइजेस. सो विद डिल्यूजन देयर इज bewilderment of memory. So delusion means that you are not able to decide what is right and what is wrong. You're delusional, like you're not seeing what is actually there, what is actually the truth. And from delusion there is bewilderment of memory. And then you're not able to take the right decision because uh, uh, and because the intelligence is and it is already is based on memory, and जो हमारी स्मृति है उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करती है. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls again down one falls down again into material pool. So इसमें like some time back I used to think of this verse into some analogy that how I could understand this verse. So let me also try to explain you what I could figure it out usme. So we can take this like from anger complete delusion arises, and from delusion there is bewilderment of memory. So we can take an example of a computer. So what happens in computer is that there is a hard disk, and there is a CPU which is the decision maker, जो उसका जो core है, the intelligence wherever it is there. And but CPU itself does nothing. And क्योंकि उनको CPU को inputs दिए जाते हैं data के, और जो data is stored in either in RAM or in the hard disk. And but so we can take this example into that analogy of so there is memory, and because the memory is corrupted, and the intelligence or the CPU cannot figure it out what to do now, and in that sense the intelligence is lost and eventually the whole system crashes. So this is like one of the analogies, like gross analogy although, but we can pretty much relate to it in our day-to-day life, because आजकल इतना सब कुछ tech savvy हो गया है, and everybody now knows these concepts of computer. And so this is one of the example that and because the corruption the memory gets corrupted, there is no way we can figure it out what is the right decision to be taken. And then there are multiple errors, there are multiple pop-ups on your screen. And similarly there here when the intelligence is lost, one falls down again into material pool. So we read the purport. Srila Rupa Goswami has given us this direction from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1.2.258. By development of Krishna consciousness, one can know that everything has its use in the service of the Lord. Those who are without knowledge of Krishna consciousness artificially try to avoid material objects, and as a result, although they desire liberation from material bondage, they do not attain to the perfect stage of renunciation. Their so-called renunciation is falgu, or less important. On the other hand, a person in Krishna consciousness knows how to use everything in the service of the Lord. Therefore, he does not become a victim of material consciousness. So देखिए पहले paragraph में Prabhupada hasn't mentioned about anger, but he is mentioning about about how we can what is the solution to it, and that how we can engage everything in the service of the Lord. And Prabhupada is saying that how a person in Krishna consciousness, he knows कि कैसे सब चीजों का जो उपयोग है वो कृष्ण भावनामृत में कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस में किया जा सकता है. बट जिनको नहीं पता कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस के बारे में या फिर जो नहीं है, दे आर ट्राइंग टू do it artificially or not in a right way. And so क्या लिखा है देखिए, their so called renunciation is called falgu, that उनकी जो renunciation है और less important. And but on the other hand, a person in Krishna consciousness knows, और ये हमने बहुत बार इसके ऊपर जो चर्चा है वो भी करी है, that how we can engage every single thing in the service of the Lord, that how पीछे ही भी आया था, that how we can engage our tongue, how we can engage our ears, how we can engage our hands, our eyes, our nose, every single senses, every single thing we can use in the service of the Lord. And that is what Krishna consciousness teaches us. आगे पढ़ते हैं. For example, for an impersonalist, the Lord or the absolute being impersonal cannot eat, whereas an impersonalist tries to avoid eatables. A devotee knows that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and that he eats all that is offered to him in devotion. So example दे रहे हैं that how an impersonalist, he thinks that God being impersonal, he cannot eat or he cannot engage in those activities. So but a devotee जो भक्त हैं उनको पता है that भगवान वो पाते भी हैं और वो खाते भी हैं जो उनको भक्ति भावना से ऑफर किया जाता है. So after offering good eatables to the Lord, the devotees take the remnants called prasadam. Thus, everything becomes spiritualized and there is no danger of a downfall. The devotee takes prasadam in Krishna consciousness, whereas the non-devotees reject it as material. So these days I am also reading Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit, and so this by reading from this prasadam, and so I'm remembering this pastime from Lilamrit about Prabhupada. These are very early days of Srila Prabhupada in San Francisco and in New York. So Prabhupada ने अभी recently ही उन्होंने ये जो अपना ISKCON अभी register करी है, और he has started a new center in New York. So what Prabhupada used to do is he started the Love Feast program, and the major attraction of Love Feast was prasadam. So he used to invite tens and hundreds of devotees, hundreds of people from New York, and they used to come, all hippies at that time, and they used to honor prasadam, and Prabhupada himself used to cook. So, and we can see that how Prabhupada emphasized the importance of prasadam and how it can change our consciousness, because so prasadam is so potent and so very powerful that simply by honoring prasadam and in the right consciousness, so we can progress well in Krishna consciousness, and that is also and we can distribute prasadam as well and to others. So that is also one of the way that we can distribute the mercy, because prasadam is directly coming as a mercy of the Lord. So Prabhupada used to do that. He in the first Love Feast he cooked almost 16 dishes on his own, and क्योंकि उस time पे there was very less help which was available to him at that time, and similarly when he started the first center in San Francisco and in Haight-Ashbury, and so there also the Prabhupada engaged the devotees, the very early ones, into every single day there was prasadam distribution to 70, 80 and 100 of people there, and simply by honoring prasadam, and so Prabhupada converted them and into the highest of Vaishnavas, and also it was just like one of the contributing factors, but and so yes, but because there were a lot of disturbing elements there as well, but Prabhupada never refused them for not coming to have prasadam. So he was very merciful and generous on that part, and he always used to invite members at that time and invite them for prasadam and to have prasadam, because he knew so that what it can do. So आगे पढ़ते हैं. The devotees takes prasadam in Krishna consciousness, whereas the non-devotees reject it as material. The impersonalist therefore cannot enjoy life due to his artificial renunciation, and for this reason, a slight agitation of the mind pulls him down again into the pool of material existence. See, in the last line, Prabhupada brings about the topic of agitation and the topic of anger, and that a very slight agitation for those members who are not in Krishna consciousness, they are again pulled back into the pool of material existence. It is said that such a soul, even though rising up to the point of liberation, falls down again due to his not having support in devotional service. It is said that such a soul, even though rising up to the point of liberation, falls down again due to his not having support in devotional service. That because so this is also one of the disturbing element, that because we are not fixed up in our process, we are not fixed up in in following what has been given by our acharyas, what is given by our gurus, and what is given by Srila Prabhupada, and that we don't follow it, and and even though we try it, and because we are so easily agitated by our senses, and then we again fall down. It might be temporary, but yes, there is always a chance to have a fall down, and we must always try and to keep ourselves fixed up in our sadhana, our daily sadhana, and to not to get us agitated. So we read with to next shlok. 2.64. रागद्वेष विमुक्तेस्तु विषयन् इन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मविषयैर् विधेयात्मा prasadam adhigacchati. But a person free from all attachments and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. So now comes the solution, that what happens that ones who are to those who are in Krishna conscious. It is so purport. It is already explained that one may externally control the senses by some artificial process, but unless the senses are engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is every chance of a fall. यही हम अभी discuss कर रहे थे, that unless the senses are engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is every chance of a fall. Although the person in full Krishna consciousness may apparently be on the sensual plane, because of his being Krishna conscious, he has no attachment to sensual activities. The Krishna conscious person is concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna and nothing else. Therefore, he is transcendental to all attachment and detachment. If Krishna wants, the devotee can do anything which is ordinarily undesirable, and if Krishna does not want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction. So this is so important, that we align ourselves to the will of Krishna. So we see that what we do is whether it is हम चाहते हैं वो करना, या फिर ये भगवान की इच्छा है. और भगवान की इच्छा में कैसे पता लगती है? भगवान के भक्तों से, and by those who are eternal servants of the Lord, who are our spiritual masters and the acharyas, and their instructions. Whatever they are, whatever their instructions are, that is which is the will of the Lord. See, if Krishna wants, the devotee can do anything which is ordinarily undesirable. कि अगर हमको ऐसा कुछ लगे कि नहीं ये तो नहीं करना चाहिए, बट अगर वो भगवान ने बोला है करने के लिए, तो जो भक्त हैं वो भी करते हैं. And if Krishna does not want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction. But अगर if it is not the will of the Lord, then जो devotees हैं वो नहीं करेंगे, even though उनको ऐसा लगता हो कि वो उनको satisfy करता हो, जो वो act हो. Therefore, to act or not is within his control, because he acts only under the direction of Krishna. So that is how the control is there, because they are only acting on by the will or under the direction of Krishna, and that is how these regulative principles also help. This Krishna consciousness is the causeless mercy of the Lord, which the devotee can achieve in spite of his being attached to the sensual platform. So this देखिए कितनी सुंदर line है last वाली. This consciousness is the causeless mercy of the Lord, which the devotee can achieve in spite of his being attached to the sensual platform. So तो अब आगे जो आएगा उसमें हम पढ़ेंगे that so what happens when we get this mercy, this causeless mercy, which is this Krishna consciousness. So we read further. प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिरस्योपजायते प्रसन्नचेतसो हि आसु बुद्धि पर्यावति स्थिते. Translation: For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of the material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. So देखिए जो last purport था उसमें हमने पढ़ा that the devotees when they get to the mercy which is Krishna consciousness, and when they come into that, so देखिए क्या होता है उनके साथ. The threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. सबसे पहला तो ये. And in such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. So there is complete satisfaction of the senses and consciousness, and the threefold miseries don't exist any longer, and the intelligence is soon well established. जो तो हमने पीछे अभी खोई थी when जो श्लोक था, when there is anger and the intelligence is lost, and but when we get the mercy, and when we get the mercy of the Lord in the form of Krishna consciousness, and then this is what we get. This is what actually happens. And और इसके बाद जो आगे पढ़ते हैं, चलिए. तो अब जो आएगा उसमें ये आएगा कि और जब हम ये नहीं ले पाते तो हमारे साथ क्या होता है, and what happens that when one lacks in such Krishna consciousness. So I'll read. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya na cha yuktasya bhavana na cha bhivayata shantir ashantasya kutha sukham. Translation: One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be happiness without peace? So, in a nutshell, there is no happiness because there is neither transcendental intelligence which is possible, and there is neither a steady mind, and without steady mind there is no possibility of peace, and without peace there is no question of happiness. So कोई सवाल नहीं उठता खुशी का, and when there is no peace. So we read the purport. Unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, 5.29, that when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the good results of sacrifice and penance, that he is the proprietor of all universal manifestations, and that he is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. So ये जो श्लोक है, this is also very popular and a wonderful श्लोक 5.29. So let me open it for you. Bhaktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So this is the श्लोक. So let me read. Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Yatva Mam Shantim Richati. Translation थोड़ा सा पढ़ते हैं. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and the well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. So Prabhupada used to say that this is the peace formula that we have, that a person जो ये जानता है that Krishna is the ultimate beneficiary, that uh, that he is the only and the true beneficiary of whatever we do. Any sacrifice or any work or any activity that we do, he is the only beneficiary. वही है भोक्ता, भोक्ता राम यज्ञ तपसा. यज्ञ और जो तपस्या है उन सब के भोक्ता है कौन है? सर्वलोक महेश्वरम, जो सब लोगों के महेश्वर हैं. एक तो है ईश्वर, बट ही इज द महा ईश्वर, महेश्वरम. सुहृदम सर्वभूताना, सर्वभूताना मतलब सभी एंटिटीज के, सभी प्राणियों के. ही इज द एवर वेल विशर. सुहृदम सबके हृदय में है, एंड सुहृद मतलब एज अ फ्रेंड ही इज देयर इन एवरीबॉडी. ज्ञात्वा माम शांतिम रिच्छति, और जो ये जानता है, he attains peace, and he attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. जो हमारे जो material miseries हैं, उनसे उनको छुटकारा मिलता है. किसको? जो ये जान ले और उसको रियलाइज कर ले. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here. And how that can be attained? Only by the process of Krishna consciousness and by following the process which has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas, is that by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and associating with the devotees, and by honoring prasadam, and so this is the way by which we in gradual step by step we can understand what is Krishna consciousness, and we can reach to this understanding and realization. So we read further. Therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. So here see such a nice statement, that if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. And when we are in Krishna consciousness, so what is the final goal? That we attain to the lotus feet of our of Lord Krishna, and that we always remain in the shelter and in the service of the Lord, and which is our true constitutional position. And then that becomes the final goal for the mind. And for those who are not in Krishna consciousness, and then there cannot be a final goal, and like that. So आगे बढ़ते हैं. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. And when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, and friend of everyone and everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. So देखिए क्या कह रहे हैं, that जो भी disturbance और agitation है, that is because we don't know what we want ultimately and what should be our ultimate goal. And when we come to know that yes, this is what is the ultimate realization, that that he is the supreme, Krishna is the supreme beneficiary of everything that we do, and so then we are brought into peace, and because when we come to know that he is the friend of everybody, and he is a friend of me too, and then with a steady mind, we are brought into peace. Therefore, आगे बढ़ते हैं. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace, however much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life. देखिए आगे. Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. So अभी एक क्लास पहले ही अभी हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे that how संबंध is so very important, and because संबंध is the वही एक मूल प्राइम जो होता है, जो जिसके बेसिस पे सब कुछ खड़ा हो सकता है, that is the संबंध only. And without that relationship, there cannot be any appreciation, or there cannot be such understanding that what is हमारा relation क्या है आपस में, that how are we related to Krishna, or how related to God, and without such understanding, how can we even like have any exchanges, or how can we have then there cannot be any peace. So यहाँ पे भी देखिए यही लिखा है that one who is engaged without a relationship is certainly always in distress and is without peace, however much he may make a show of peace. हम जितना भी दिखावा करें, हम जितना भी कोशिश कर लें कि that oh no, we are in peace and we are trying to make world peace, and so many organizations in this day today, and they are trying to make world peace with all the nations coming together, and but they are mistaken that without any universal fatherhood, there cannot make any unity, and without unity there cannot be any peace. And so however we may try to make a show of it, and but when we understand, but when we realize that Krishna is our true father, and what is our relationship with him, then in one in a very single moment, all of us gets related, because if the two persons have a common father, then they are related, and so this thought itself is very deep, and that is the true basis. That is the true basis of attaining peace, and that is the true and the first basis of attaining peace, that having a relationship, having sambandh with Krishna. Last line देखिए कितनी सुंदर है. Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. It is a self-manifested peaceful condition because it is there already within us, but because of our connection with this material nature, time immemorial, we have forgotten our true identity. We have forgotten that we are by nature, we are naturally Satchidanand, we are naturally peaceful, and because of so many coverings on us that and we have forgotten our relationship with Krishna, and because of that our identity is lost, and then we think of ourselves as body and not as soul, and which is also the first understanding which we are supposed to get from Bhagavad Gita, and which is also the basis of everything. So we read ahead. (2.67) Indriyanam hi charatam yamano anuvidyate tad asya harati prakyam vayurnavam evam bhasi. Translation: as a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one on the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. दोबारा पढ़ता हूँ. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. तो यहाँ पे बताया गया that how important it is for us to always remain fixed up, because example is given that जिस प्रकार से एक जो बोट होती है पानी में, अगर एक जैसे कि एक बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग हवा का जो गश ऑफ एयर, वो बोट को आगे धकेल देती है सिंपली. एंड इसी तरह से अगर एक भी कोई जो सेंसेस हैं जो अगर वो हमारे कंट्रोल में नहीं है, दैट कैन कैरी अवे अ मैन्स इंटेलिजेंस, और वो अगेन इट कैन ब्रिंग अस बैक टू द सेम material pool, and then again we have problems. Purport: unless all of the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, even one of them engaged in sense gratification can deviate the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement. As mentioned in the life of Maharaj Ambrish, all of the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness, for that is the correct technique for controlling the mind. So again and again the same message comes that all of the senses have to be engaged in the service, or have to be engaged in Krishna consciousness, and only then we can have some hope of progressing and controlling, otherwise which is very difficult to do so. So we read ahead. तस्माद् यस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशाः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थाभ्यास तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. Translation: therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. Purport: one can curb the forces of sense gratification only by means of Krishna consciousness. For engaging all the senses in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, as enemies are curbed by superior force, the senses can similarly be curbed not by any human endeavor, but only by keeping them engaged in the service of the Lord. One who has understood this, that only by Krishna consciousness is one really established in intelligence, and that one should practice this art under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, is called a sadhak, or a suitable candidate for liberation. So तो देखिए यहाँ पे क्या एक डेफिनेशन दी गई है साधक की, that one who has understood that only by Krishna consciousness is one really established in intelligence. जिसको इस चीज की समझ है that सिर्फ कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस से ही हम अपने we can be really established in intelligence, and how that to be followed, or how that to be practiced, that under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. So that is very important. And यहाँ पे एक analogy भी दी गई है that like a controlling enemy requires a superior force. So in the same sense, the senses cannot be controlled by any human endeavor. They have to be controlled only by keeping them in the service of the Lord. So we move ahead. Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी आपने एनालॉजी के बारे में क्या बताया है, प्लीज दोबारा बताएंगे?
यस माता जी, तो एक एनालॉजी हम यहाँ पे ले सकते हैं कि जिस प्रकार से कोई शत्रु होता है उसको हम फोर्स से ही कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं माता जी। तो इसी प्रकार से जो हमारी सेंसेस हैं उनके लिए फोर्स का जो तरीका है वो है बाय एंगेजिंग दोज आवर सेंसेस इनटू द सर्विस ऑफ द लॉर्ड. So this is one of the analogy that we can take. Is that okay? Hare Krishna.
Can we more explain this?
Yes, Prabhuji. So देखिए यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है, as enemies are curbed by superior force, the senses can similarly be curbed. Curb मतलब उनको control में लाना, not by any human endeavor, but only by keeping them engaged in the service of the Lord. मतलब ये बताया गया है कि हमारे बस में नहीं है कि हम सेंसेस को कंट्रोल करें, बट अगर हम उनको अपनी जो इंद्रियां हैं, अपनी जो सेंसेस हैं, उनको हम भगवान की सेवा में लगाएंगे, सो दैट इज द राइट वे to keep them in control, because they are then engaged in service of the Lord, and they are and because they are always wanting for engagement, and we give them engagement, but in a right direction. So उसको इस तरह से एग्जांपल लिया गया है that like जो शत्रु होता है उसके ऊपर भी हम फोर्स के थ्रू मतलब उनको कंट्रोल किया जाता है. इसी प्रकार से ये एनालॉजी हम ले सकते हैं. So is that okay, Prabhu ji?
Yes, Prabhu ji. Yes, Prabhu ji.
Hare Krishna, Ronnie Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu ji. So now we can take some questions. Yes, Prabhu ji.
Yeah, can I am a bit confused. Can I ask my question?
Yes, Prabhu ji.
In 2.64 verse, last line में कहा गया है, this consciousness is the causeless mercy of Lord, which
Yes.
the devotee can achieve in spite of being attached to the sensual platform.
Yes, Prabhu ji.
And then 6.7 में ये कहा गया है कि अगर कोई भी एक sense gratification रहती है, that can divert the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement. Aren't these two things contradictory? Previously it is said that this is the special mercy of the Lord, and then it is being said that we can be diverted from the path if there is one sense gratification left. Can you please
Yes,
guide
Prabhu
this?
ji. Yes, Prabhu ji. So I can try to explain. So जो 2.64 में आपका जो प्रश्न है वो इस लाइन को लेकर के है that this consciousness is the causeless mercy of the Lord, which the devotee can achieve in spite of his being attached to the sensual platform. So ये हम सभी अपने आप को relate कर सकते हैं that what is this causeless mercy? The causeless mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu of giving us this this opportunity of coming in Krishna consciousness simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. And there is no question asked that are we attached to, or are we on sensual platform or not. So this is how we can attain to this, to the mercy. And this is how so easily it is available. And और जो आपका अगला है वो ये है प्रभु जी की we have to remain very careful. We have to still remain very careful that that even if there is a little agitation, because we are not completely fixed, we are still practicing, then we have to remain fixed up in this process of Krishna consciousness. And that is why even a single, like if even if it is still something is left there, then there is possibility of a fall down. There is still a possibility of a fall down. So this is how we can reconcile both the things, that yes, the mercy is there, and in spite of being on a material platform, in spite of being attached to so many things, um, so in spite of being attached to so many things, we can still attain to the mercy of the Lord um, by um, by serving those who are serving the Lord, by serving those who are serving the devotees of the Lord. And but still, if even if there we are totally fixed up, and we still have to remain very careful, because this material nature is so very powerful that it is not possible for us to do or um, to to उनको उसको पार करना, मतलब it is not possible for us to
Yeah.
do it on our own. We have to take the, like we have to take the shelter of the Lord, and it is only through their mercy that we can do this.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So does anybody else has more questions? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Ronnie Prabhu. One more question.
Yes, Prabhuji.
It's in 2.62. Just take, I don't know whether it's fit to ask this question or not.
Okay.
इसमें Lord Shiva का example दिया गया है. But till now we had read that Lord Shiva is the biggest devotee.
Yes.
And here the example is given that though he is in so much meditative mood, he used to chant, he is the biggest devotee, and he falls down, or his mind becomes agitated. How we can understand this? It's
yes, we can understand it as the way it has been written, Prabhuji, that even these demigods, they are still not out of these this agitation of the senses. And but even if they are so fixed up, and these, because they are still under the in contact with the material nature, and because of that they can still be they can still be agitated. But again, then example of Haridas Thakur is given, who is a pure devotee of the Lord, and the pure devotees, they are not under any modes of material nature, or they are but neither Lord Shiva, but they are still in association of the material nature. But with Haridas Thakur, like as they as like in 9th chapter, Lord Krishna also says that Mahatma nastu mam partha devim prakrite mashrita, that all the Mahatmas, they're directly under the Devi Shakti of the Lord, and because of that they are and because of that they are completely protected. And so in that sense, the pure devotees, they're more fixed up. And so, and also we can say that we don't have to compare on that basis, like directly. This is also just to give an analogy. This is also just to give an or example only, that this has been brought up. And but we can't say that we can't have a comparison like in that sense that Lord Shiva and Haridas Thakur like that.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you, Ronnie Prabhu, for the wonderful class. Thanks. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So Gilash is also.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, इसमें अभी एक पीछे परपट से पहले आपने एक महेश्वरम वर्ड यूज किया था.
Yes, Prabhuji.
महेश्वरम, यस प्रभुजी, जरा एक्सप्लेन करेंगे वो लॉर्ड कृष्णा के लिए है या?
Yes, Prabhuji. So that is for Krishna only, Prabhuji. That it is, the verse is 5.29 Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwar. That who is the सब लोगों के जो महेश्वर हैं. एक तो होता है ईश्वर, who is the controller, and then there is Maheshwar, who is the controller of all the controllers. Supreme controller, in that sense. So so every one of us, we can say that there is some sense of control, but none of us can say that we are supreme controller. Neither the demigods, they can say they are supreme controller. क्योंकि उनके ऊपर भी कोई है who is Lord Krishna. That is confirmed in 5.29.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Ronnie Prabhu.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful class.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you
Hare
so much.
Krishna.
So with this we end our today's session. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. And please forgive me for all the wrong things I said. So I will try to improve. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Wonderful
Thank
class.
you. It's a wonderful class, Ronnie Prabhu.
Very
Thank
nice
you.
class.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.